Hey folks, this is Kevin with Divinely Designed, and I have a soap video, and this is kind of a series of videos I'm going to be doing about pine tar. So this video, we're going to be making pine tar soap, but I thought I wanted to talk a little bit about pine tar before I actually get into the soap making video itself, because the video is probably going to be pretty short in terms of making the actual soap. There should be two other videos in this series. One is making a salve and one is making a lotion, so go check those out. But I thought in this video I would talk about the pine tar specifically. So I have a friend who has a child who has eczema and asked for something that might help treat that. And if you go on the soap forums on Facebook, this question gets asked all the time. What is the best treatment, or what can help my friend or me that has bad skin conditions like psoriasis or eczema? So, if you remember, right, the FDA doesn't want us making any kind of claims about things our soaps or our cosmetic products can do. So, this is not a medical claim. I'm talking about sort of the history of the use of pine tar. But pine tar has been long used for the treatment of skin conditions. And so I went online to do some research and say, well, why? What makes it able to do that? Or is there any research out there that says that pine tar can treat those kinds of skin conditions? So I went online and did some research and looked up some research articles and things, and there's not a lot out there. It hasn't been studied a lot. Now, there have been some studies done on it, and probably the most interesting one I came across was this was a kind of a historical research paper where they looked at other research papers that had been written on pine tar, or coal tar, I should mention coal tar as well, and whether or not those articles found that there was efficacy in treating those kinds of skin conditions. So they looked at, let's see, I can't remember. It wasn't a whole lot of research papers overall, but 84% of them supported that the use of the tar product helped in some way in treating the skin condition. In that case, it was psoriasis. And 16%, or 4 of the papers, found that there was really no difference in using the products in terms of treating skin conditions. And there are some theories out there about how that helps in terms of the actual chemicals that make up pine tar and how that may help. Some studies have looked at actually using it and then using UV therapy, which they found helpful as well. But again, there is no really established efficacy in using pine tar for treating things like psoriasis or eczema or other kinds of contact dermatitis, skin condition kinds of things. But it has been used for years and years and years. Some people swear by it. And there is, sometimes there's usually kind of a kernel of truth in some of those, old wives' tales or old remedies that people have used. So anyway, I thought, I would try making some of this. It's the first time I'm making it. Give it to my friend for her kids, see if it helps. So that's just a little bit about pine tar. Oh, and I should mention one other thing. There's some concern about pine tar being carcinogenic, or cancer-causing, and those concerns primarily come from the creosote, which can be found sometimes in pine tar. The way pine tar is made, you take pieces of wood and you put them in a closed container, and then you heat that container with the wood inside of it, and the tar sort of seeps out of the wood. Well, how creosote gets open is there's 2 ways to do that. They call it an open kiln or a closed kiln. So that container that's holding the wood sometimes has a cover on it, and that's a closed kiln, or is sometimes open, and that's called an open kiln. Well, the creosote actually comes from the fire around the container, and if it's done in an open kiln process, that creosote can come up and sort of fall into the pine tar itself. Now, there's also, some people out there who say that the creosote concern is really very minimal, and was more kind of a marketing thing for some other companies who advertised their pine tar as creosote-free. The studies I have read where they looked at carcinogens in tar products, most of it comes from coal tar, not pine tar. And the one article that I found that could show that demonstrated a correlation between pine tar and cancer was in somebody who used pine tar directly on their skin for something like over 20 years, and they found that they developed a skin cancer. Short-term use is probably minimal at all. If the creosote is actually in there, it's probably minimal at all. But I thought I would mention it. I leave it up to you to make your decisions about whether or not it's safe to use. I certainly think it is, especially on a wash-off product like soap. Okay. All right. So, is there anything else I want to talk about pine tar? Oh. In general, pine tar, where can you find it if you want to make your own pine tar soap? I found mine online and just ordered it over the internet and got it mailed to me. But you can find it in hardware stores, I suppose maritime stores. It's used in like woodworking to prep the wood for ships. You can find it in horse stores, or country stores that do feed and grain, it's used to treat hoof problems in horses. So you can often find it in those kinds of stores. So, okay, so let's get to the making of the soap. Okay, folks, so here we go. This is gonna move fast, so I sort of have everything mixed up. This is the pine tar I'm using. It's a brand called Bickmore. Again, I got it online and just ordered it over the internet, but it came from an equine store, actually. Let's go over the recipe. I have my oils. I actually have my fragrance in here as well. Pine tar, if you don't know, has an extremely strong smell to it. Now, I have read and watched some videos where people say that after you make the soap, some of that pine tar smell will fade. I have read where others say it doesn't, and it still just comes through really strong, and any fragrance that you add in here is just sort of overwhelmed with it. Now, I have, for fragrance, tea tree oil and lavender 4042 in here, and I actually do smell the lavender. I do not smell the tea tree at all. It's a mixture of lavender and this pine tar fragrance that's really coming through. So we'll see how that goes. Again, I'm making this for a friend whose child has some skin conditions. So I've sort of, this is not my normal recipe. This is not a tried and true recipe. This is a recipe I created just last night and played with it so I could add pine tar to it. If you use soap calc, you can add pine tar to your recipe on soap calc and calculate it out there. But okay, so let's go over the recipe. All right, so in here I have 180 grams of beef tallow, 96 grams of rice bran oil, 192 grams of coconut oil 76 degree, 156 grams of neem oil, 180 grams of kokum butter, 120 grams of castor oil, 96 grams of olive oil, and 180 grams of pine tar. This will give about a 15% composition of pine tar. From what the only thing I can really find out there about percentages, there was one article that said about 20% is a safe range. Again, that's from one source, so there's probably other people out there who would say that higher or lower percentages are needed. I went with 15% for this. I also chose neem oil, which if you have never used neem oil, it has a very strong smell. I mean, pine tar smells strong. I don't really like it, I'll say, but I can tolerate it. Neem oil, to me, smells awful. I really hate the scent of neem oil. The one good thing about this is I cannot smell the neem oil at all. The pine tar totally overwhelms the neem. So, neem has some special things in it that can also help with skin conditions. And some of those things I think called nibidum and nimbin. They're anti-inflammatory compounds that are found in neem oil, and they help to reduce redness and swelling. And then there's a third one called quercetin, which helps the body's ability to respond to inflammatory processes and inhibits the manufacture of and release of histamine. So that's why I've included the neem. The tea tree, again, is also really good for the skin and supposed to help for skin conditions. There is some research out there that says, certain percentages of tea tree applications have been as efficacious as using like 1% steroid creams for treating some eczema and psoriasis or other kind of contact dermatitis skin conditions. Now, again, no medical claims here. What I have read about psoriasis and eczema in general, most people who suffer from them say the process of finding something that helps them is a long one, and they have to try multiple things. For some people, it's this particular anti-inflammatory cream that works, but for another person, that same cream won't work at all. For one person, they swear by pine tar soap. For another person, they may not use it at all, So there's a lot of trial and error from what I have read from people who suffer from these conditions. So again, I'm not claiming that this will treat it at all. There's just a long history of home crafting pine tar soap for treating those kinds of things. Okay, so that's the oils. For fragrance, I have 30 grams of tea tree oil, 30 grams of lavender 4042. I also have in here some colloidal oatmeal, probably about 2 heaping teaspoons full. That's what's in here. And then for my lye and water, I have 456 grams of water and 144 grams of lye. My temperatures, my lye waters is right around just below 100. My oils were around 85. I'll be using the tall and skinny mold from American Soap Supplies. And I think that's it. Now, I know that the pine tar makes things speed up really quickly. So I have everything sort of mixed in here already. I'm going to give it a buzz to mix up the colloidal oatmeal and just, sort of incorporate everything that's in here. Okay. All right, and then we're going to put the lye water in. Now, I'm also using kind of, full, I don't like this term, full water, but I haven't done any kind of reduction. Some people really even say with this not to even use a stick blender, just to use a whisk. I'm just going to blend it very quickly until I feel like I have everything mixed. It's already going to trace, so I'm going to stop. And we're going to put it in the mold. No fancy designs or swirls or anything like that. Just the soap. Okay. Okay, it's kind of firming up there. I have a little bit of extra, which I think I'm going to save for myself to try. I'm going to let that firm up for a second. And then before this gets like too hard. So you can see it moved very quickly. I knew that from the get-go. That's why I had everything sort of combined already in my oils. Okay, so those will be just for me, really, to try out. But it certainly got very thick, very quick. And I think I'm going to do just sort of a little bit of a textured top here, if I can. Just to give it a little bit of visual interest on top. So if you're going to make pine tar soap, just be ready for it to move very quickly. Okay. Like I said, I'm just trying to give it a little bit of visual appeal here. I think that's good. Okay. Alright, so stick around. After the break should be the cutting of pine tar soap, alright? Stick around. Okay, everyone. Here we are with the cutting of the pine tar soap. This actually hasn't been very long. I put it in the fridge overnight. I took it out. I let it come to, well, I actually didn't let it come to room temperature. It's still a little on the cool side. It's only been about an hour and a half. And it's probably been under 24 hours. So I want to say it's probably closer to 16 or 18 hours. So I should probably wait. It is a little bit soft on the bottom, but I'm being very impatient today, so. And there we have it. Now, I'm not going to really show you the rest of the soap because they all will look the same. The top out, it came out nice. It has a little bit of a texture to it. I like that. Now, it still smells very strong of the pine tar. I mean, that is very sort of overpowering. But I will say that it has faded from yesterday. Now, I had a couple of pine tar projects going on, so my whole kitchen just reeked of pine tar. And I definitely smell this morning, but it is definitely less than it was yesterday. I don't smell the tea tree at all. And I think I get just a hint of the lavender coming through. So we'll see. Maybe the pine tar will continue to sort of fade a little bit, but you can see, right? I mean, nothing really special. They all look just sort of chocolatey brown. So, okay, that's it. So pine tar soap. Comments, questions, leave them below. If you enjoyed this video, click on that thumbs up button. If you'd like more videos or get notifications about when I post videos about bath and beauty related things, soap, paper crafting, cards, click on that subscribe button over there. And check back here at Divinely Designed for more videos. All right, thanks everyone for watching.